Hello and welcome back to Life.ev, a podcast that dives into exploring values. I'm your host, Ajit Panicker, and I lead an air conditioning company, Nova, and Pure Blue, a tech startup in the air conditioning domain. Every Saturday at 11 a.m., join us for conversations that go beyond business growth, focusing on the values that fuel it. Let's embark on this journey to uncover our true purpose and how we can grow by enriching our lives. Welcome to Life.ev, where we explore values in life and in business. As always, I have with me Vivek Asrani. Hi, Vivek. How are you doing?
Hi Ajit, how are you doing? Good to be back on your show again.
Awesome. To most of the viewers who are joining us for the first time, Vivek Asrani is the driving force behind Camo Fastener Company, a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. What sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. Now, for close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. These insightful thoughts are accessible on his website, vivekasrani.com. Vivek has also authored the book One Day at a Time Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought provoking read is available on his website, also on Amazon, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional lives. In today's episode of Life.tv, we are delving into a topic spreading cheer. Vivek, let's hear your reflections on this.
So Ajit, I remember I had written this reflection during Christmas a few years ago because it's the you know whole festive spirit and the season of cheer. But I think the reflection really came from my fundamental belief that we were born to be happy. Joy is our true nature. Now it sounds very poetic and easy to say, and all of us have been through our struggles and challenges in life. So it doesn't for a moment mean that I'm trivializing what we are going through. It doesn't mean that I'm not realistic about what happens in the real world. But at the same time, notwithstanding everything that happens out there, I truly fundamentally believe that joy is our true nature and we were born to be happy. So for me, spreading cheer uh, is probably one of those most core and important values and principles which I live with. And I wrote this, during Christmas, but I also wrote that we don't have to wait for a festival for us to spread cheer. It's something we should probably think of in our daily lives. And the reflection really was, what does spreading cheer do to us? So, one is, there are a lot of people around us who are going through their challenges, and often we may not be able to do anything about their situation to improve it because they are dealing with their situation. However, we can be there for them and we can be that emotional support in their life. And we very often underestimate the value of being there in someone's life at a time when they need it the most. So spreading cheer lifts sagging spirits. The second thing which I wrote about is that our own outlook in life, sometimes we get critical, we get serious, and without realizing it we stop you know feeling that sense of expanse, and we stop spreading that cheer. So in a way, when we stop taking ourselves too seriously and look out for opportunities, active random acts of kindness, we become more expansive when we spread cheer. The third thing I wrote is that when we spread cheer, Ajit, we are looking at the other person. And in that, the flow of energy stops from what I want and converts to what can I give. So, in a way, spreading cheer also dissolves the ego. So, these were some of the positive benefits that I, reflected upon in terms of spreading cheer. And it's just, the feel good factor in life. And I don't know whether you've experienced it, I'm sure you would have, that even when you come across a stranger who just crosses your path and the person smiles at you, and without any verbal communication, it just evokes a smile on your face. You know, so
Sure.
I we very often underestimate the very powerful and yet such a simple thing of spreading cheer.
Amazing. This also brings me to a question. Listening to you, I was just saying, I mean, is it scientifically justified, that little bit of kindness or a random act or a gesture of a smile, a compliment? Uh, does it actually have the benefits for the giver or receiver, or is it more of a more cosmetic in nature? Or is there a scientific way of like saying that, no, this really works, man?
Look, so I don't know the science behind lots of things, but let me share with you my understanding of it, right? Let's just unpack it at a very simple level. So when I am spreading cheer, what am I doing? A, I am thinking about the other person. Second, I am thinking about the other person in a positive manner. Third, I am going within myself to find that source of cheer or humor or support or whatever the case may be so that I can give it. Now, when I'm doing this as the giver, what it does for me is just incredible. It's dissolving my ego, it's making me more expansive, it's connecting me to my core within. It is inverting the flow of energy where rather than getting stressed about what I'm not getting, I'm feeling good about what I'm giving. More importantly, it is creating an impact in somebody's life. And suddenly, we keep talking about purpose and meaning of life in a very small way. It just puts life in perspective to say that it takes so little to put a smile on someone's face, you know, and how important that could be for someone. So, scientifically, if you ask me, it does wonders for the person who's giving it. Now, for the person who's receiving it, when someone is going a little out of their way or is making themselves available to you at a time when you probably need it the most, you just feel that affection. You don't feel alone anymore. And that triggers a sense of confidence in you. You just feel a little more reassured. And when cheer is received and cheer is given, there is a bonding of love that takes place. And we've experienced this in our personal lives, Ajit, that when we express love in whichever form it be, whatever the chemical reactions that happen within, it's only a positive thing. So even though it sounds like a very simple thing, and what's the big deal about spreading cheer? If you ask me, uh, fundamentally, it's a very powerful thing in our life. And again, I'm repeating that we very often underestimate the value of spreading cheer.
When I was putting this thoughts together for this podcast, I was actually
Mhm.
talking to a few people and I was just saying, what do you think about spreading cheer? And it was like, well, there's nothing so great about it. It's very natural. It's very normal. And that actually said, that we just take it for granted. We don't give too much of attention. And it actually led to me kind of a question. It said, when you spread that cheer, even if you're low, doesn't it create a chain reaction where others keep passing it on? And somehow the very fact that you've seen is this positivity in one person can also impact a group or community. Have you ever experienced such things?
Yeah, yeah. I think all of us would have, a couple of examples that straight away come to mind. One of my closest friends, Nitai and Sumangli, they organize, you know, Bombay's largest Diwali party for children uh, coming from homes, uh, you know, the orphanages and special needs children. And, Ajit, the whole atmosphere for those 4 hours. So there's like a stage and there's an entertainment program and there's dinner and then we give them gifts when they leave. It's a lot of there's so much of positivity over there for those few hours that stays with us for like months together. And I know over the years, a lot of us as friends have learned from that, and in our own way have also kind of tried to multiply it in our offices, in our other groups, and whatever other kind of outreach work we might be able to do. So that's at a group level, right? And we've also seen this, in societies and clubs, and where people get together and do something. But to me, one of the most powerful things, Ajit, is the random acts of kindness, the unexpected cheer. And let me give you an example of something which a friend of mine and I did. And, well, it was quite funny. So this friend of mine is chairman of a company in the UK, which is a 170-year-old company. So he's like the fifth generation, I think, and a wonderful person. And we were visiting him, and he took us to a place. Rashida, the kids, and I were there with him. And Peter took us around to. We drove out from Leeds, and we went to a place, beautiful place, and there was this old lady sitting on the bench. And I looked at Peter and I said, "Let's get her an ice cream." So he looks at me, this perfect Englishman, with this very strange look. I said, "Peter, come on, come on. Let's ask her. Let's do one thing. Let's get two ice creams, okay? We'll get a chocolate and we'll get a strawberry, and then we'll both go up to her and let's see which one she takes. Right? I bet she's going to take my flavor." I mean, we were on a holiday, and he's a very, very dear friend. So there's a lot of bonding in any case. So we got an ice cream. We went up to the lady. Okay, and I remember she was sitting on the bench, so we both kind of, would kneel down in front of her, and we held both the ice creams and said, which one would you like? So she looks at us, smiles, she took the ice cream and she had the chocolate ice cream. All right. And we walked away, and he looks at me with this big grin, he's like, "I don't believe you just made me do that." Like, let's just, you can remember this for the rest of your life, right? Now, small stuff. I'm not, that's the point. I'm not saying that was needle shifting for anybody. But at that point of time, it probably meant something to that person. It meant a lot to us to just give. And I think it really comes down to the essence of this, Ajit, that we are a powerhouse of love and joy. Why are we holding ourselves back from giving as much as we can to as many as we can for as long as we can? And I think spreading cheer really is triggering that from within and igniting that you don't have to wait for festivals to be cheerful, you don't have to wait for occasions. I mean, just smiling at uh, the person who's holding the door for you, or just that word of thank you or an appreciation to someone, you know uh, and just noticing something small about somebody which you would have otherwise overlooked, and the other person was not even expecting it. And I think that's what human relationships, human connections, and if you ask me, that's what the essence of life is all about.
That's nice. But Vivek, I must tell you, when you were telling me this, I tried to do the same thing what you did, I took a nice big cone of ice cream and I walked to a elderly man and I gave it to him. He smiled, he took it, and then he said, uh, "You really did not intend to kill me today, right? Because I'm very high on diabetes." So, so I'm sure you didn't intend to kill me, right? So that something backfired. But that also comes to a question, because we've got a lot of entrepreneurs who are this, spreading cheer, how much humor plays into it. How does that whole humor factor have an impact in spreading cheer and the mental health of, just the mental and the physical health benefits of just laughter? How have you? I mean, I've always experienced it's a very, very exciting thing to do. What are your thoughts on this?
I remember as a kid, I used to read the Reader's Digest, which used to have one section called "Humor is the Best Medicine." And it actually is true that humor can be a very powerful way of communicating difficult things. It can be a powerful way of diffusing a tense situation. It can help give a perspective. So, where does humor come from? Humor doesn't come from jokes that you remember. That's a different kind of humor. Humor basically comes when you stop taking yourself too seriously in life, when you allow your ego to get a little dissolved, and you just you just see the fun that's going on around you in life. Okay, when things go right, you smile and laugh with gratitude, and when things are just not going your way, you laugh at the comedy of life and say, okay, I mean, what more do I have to do to now get through with this, right? I remember we were in the office once, and we were losing a big order. And I asked there were three of my sales managers sitting with me, and I asked one of them, I said, but what seems to be the issue? So he says, so, that department over there, they are expecting a bribe. And because our company is not going to bribe, we will not get that order. It was a substantial order. Okay. So I started laughing. I said, are you trying to tell me that we're getting penalized for doing the right thing in life? I mean, what can be a bigger comedy than this, right? It's not that I was not realistic with the way things uh, happen out there. But I'm like, what choice do I have? I can either get angry and I can, shout at the world out there. I said, it's not going to help anybody. In fact, my blood pressure will go up and my health will go down if I do that. So I just laughed at it. I said, this is ridiculous. But now, having said that, for every one ridiculously corrupt customer, please go find the 99 good, honest customers so that we can, continue growing our business. So I gave them a perspective. I said, don't stress about failure. Let's focus on the positive. Don't focus on the dead wall. Create openings for yourself. Don't get bogged down in defeat. Lift up your spirits and go out there and win the game out there. Now, I could have said this in a very serious way as a management thing and a leadership thing, but I just said it in a humorous way. I said, this is the funniest thing I've got, that we're getting penalized for doing the right thing. So they were all smiling and I said, come on, now let's go get the next 99 customers. And they said, yeah, don't worry, we're going to do it. And sure enough, the business has grown. So I'm saying humor, Ajit, and it really comes, if you ask me, fundamentally, it comes from not taking yourself too seriously. But the other place where it comes from, and that's been my experience, is from observing life, people, situations very closely. And then you sometimes just take a step back and you smile at so many things going on around you, you know. And the last thing I would say, and I just want to read this out from my reflection, that, and because I wrote this during Christmas, this is also written in the same context, that as children, we asked Santa for something we did not have. As we grew older, we realized where the gifts were coming from. But we still have needs, and we sometimes secretly pray for a secret Santa to appear in our lives and help us. Spreading cheer is beyond just the fun of being together. It is finding our inner capacity to go out of our way to ease someone else's pain and be there for them in their hour of need when they least expect it. Being the secret Santa in someone's life is truly spreading cheer.
Wow, that is fantastic. So, on that positive note, I think that's all the time that we have for this episode. We'd love to hear from you guys. Join the dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your questions, your learnings, and the insights you've gained from this episode. It's through these shared experiences and perspectives that we all grow and learn. So, don't hesitate to reach out and contribute to this ongoing conversation. Your voice matters in shaping a more ethically driven business world. That's it for today. Join us next week on Saturday at 11 a.m. for another enriching episode on Life.ev, where we continue our exploration into the fascinating world of exploring values in our life. Vivek, as usual, thank you very much for joining us this week and look forward to catching up with you next Saturday at 11 a.m.
Always a pleasure, Ajit. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you very much.